Do you love animals? I do. After all, they are so cute, and they can even save your life. For instance, dolphins helped a shipwrecked girl reach the shore, a stray cat prevented a baby from certain death, and lions give a little girl a chance to escape kidnappers. In this video, we'll share these and other incredible stories of animals saving humans with you. And if you watch until the end, you'll learn the name of the feathered hero who received a medal for brave deeds during the war. Enjoy watching! The year 2004 became truly terrifying for the residents of the Indian Ocean Islands. Suddenly, a massive tsunami hit the cities and villages. 3 feet! That's the height of a 5-story building. Can you imagine? The catastrophe brought unimaginable chaos. In the midst of this chaos, an incredible story unfolded. Let me tell you about it. Little Amber Owen went on vacation to Thailand that year. While strolling on the beach with her parents, the girl became interested in various exotic animals. Turtles, geckos, monkeys, and of course, elephants. In Thailand, they really respect these truly majestic creatures. By the way, did you know that white elephants exist? I didn't. However, you'll rarely find them in the wild because all white elephants belong to the Thai king. It's a tradition here, see a white elephant, report it to the government. But it seems we have drifted off topic. What was I talking about? Oh yes, the girl, the elephant, the tsunami, yes. Among all the animals, the baby elephant named Ning Nong caught the girl's attention. She spent a lot of time with him, feeding him, riding on his enormous back. She gave special attention to this animal. Soon, the baby elephant reciprocated. It even reached the point where Ning Nong stopped allowing anyone else to ride on his back except Amber. Even the mahout was surprised by such behavior. Soon, Ning Nong surprised everyone even more. There was a strong ebb on the shore. This didn't scare anyone. The locals had seen such things before, so they just went to gather the fish that lay in huge piles where the water used to be. However, the girl thought it was a good time and place to ride on her friend again. No one sensed the approaching danger, except for the hero of our story. At some point, Ning Nong became agitated and ran towards the forest on a hill, carrying the girl on his back. A moment later, an unprecedented tsunami struck the shore. The wave reached the fleeing elephant, but due to his large size, the girl was unharmed. She soon reunited with her family where she shared the story with the world. It sounds unbelievable, but you can find documentary materials about this story on the internet. Interviews with Amber Owen herself, and of course, evidence of the tsunami. Every country undoubtedly has its own rules, and if the tradition with white elephants is unlikely to harm anyone, except perhaps the elephant themselves, and even that is not certain, then this custom from Ethiopia will unpleasantly surprise you. Here, the abduction of people for marriage is still practiced. According to UN estimates, over 70% of marriages in Ethiopia occur in this way. It's horrible. The same terrible fate could have awaited a 12-year-old girl whose name is unknown. When she was walking to school, several men suddenly attacked her. They beat her and forced her to do disgusting things. They kept her captive while the girl's parents worried and searched for her with the help of law enforcement. But it wasn't the police who helped the girl escape, otherwise, the story wouldn't be in my compilation. The real heroes here were lions. 3 formidable cats, hearing the girl's continuous crying, rushed to her aid. They first drove away the criminals and then stayed with the girl until she was found by her parents. And then they calmly left, not touching anyone else. Local residents consider this a real miracle, divine intervention, because lions usually attack people, kill them, not save them. Skeptics, on the other hand, are sure it's just a coincidence. If the girl had been with the lions a little longer, they would have surely eaten her. But I'm glad the story ended well, now I can share it with you. This man didn't have much luck with members of the Phelan family. In the cats versus dogs surveys, he always chose the latter. Well, they got offended by him, but of course, that's just a joke. I'll tell you the story of Robert Biggs. On March 26, 2012, as a dedicated traveler, the man was once again exploring new, unfamiliar places. This time, he chose the mountain trails of Whiskey Flats in California as his route. There, Robert Biggs saw a bear with cubs and of course didn't approach them because they're dangerous predators that can attack at any moment. Especially dangerous are mother bears with their instincts to protect their offspring, as the man was well aware. So he quickly decided to leave the area. But before he could take a step, someone pounced on him. I felt a strong blow, then I realized it was a mountain lion that plunged into my backpack. Usually, lions use their claws to pierce the head, but my backpack was higher than the head and the lion grabbed it. Robert later said in an interview with a local magazine. The man had no choice but to start fighting the cat. He hit it on the head with a large boulder. Robert's entire life flashed before his eyes. Escaping from such a formidable predator as a mountain lion is impossible. A human is not a match for this failing representative. But the man got lucky. A worthy opponent for the lion was found after all. That same bear that Robert had feared, hearing the sounds of the battle, immediately rushed to his aid. She knocked the giant cat to the ground and held it there until the man escaped. He managed to get away with only a slight fright and minor injuries, but what a gripping story. The one he was so afraid of became his hero. In cats versus dog surveys, I always choose cats, so let me tell you another amazing story about these equally amazing animals. This time, we're a bit closer to everyday life. The hero here is an ordinary and moreover homeless cat. Well, to be more precise, she had something like a home. She lived in the entrance of kind people who regularly fed and treated her when she was sick. The cat even had her own box, bedding, and of course a name. Her name was Masha, and Masha was everyone's favorite. The action took place in a cold Russian city called Obninsk. On that day, it was really freezing, as it was January. It would have been an ordinary winter day, but a case changed everything. Into Masha's house, that very box in the cold entrance, they threw a 2-month-old baby after a shipwreck. The cat, seeing this, immediately began to warm the baby with her warmth and meowed very loudly in distress. A resident of the entrance, pensioner Nadezhda Makovakova, heard this terrible cry from the 4th floor and immediately rushed to help her beloved pet. Can you imagine how loud that heart-wrenching plaintive meow was? I thought they were beating the cat, the woman admitted. I couldn't even imagine that a child was lying there. Neighbors immediately called an ambulance, the boy was saved, and the real hero in this story was the cat Masha. If not for her, the child would have died from hypothermia. With her warmth, Masha saved the poor baby. The cat's maternal instinct turned out to be much stronger than that of the biological mother. And now, back to lions. Okay, don't be upset. It's not an ordinary lion, it's not about feline animals. I want to tell you a story where the hero is a seal, well, or a sea lion to be more precise. 19-year-old Kevin Hines suffered from bipolar disorder and epilepsy all his life. These conditions brought him unimaginable suffering, so at some point, the man gave up and decided to end his life. He chose a place with a notoriously bad reputation for this, the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. From 1937 to 2012, there were more than 10,000 suicide attempts there. A frightening number. Moreover, only a few managed to survive after stepping into the abyss. Hines was one of those lucky ones, if you call it that. He hit the water hard, got multiple fractures, couldn't move at all, started losing consciousness from severe pain but still remained alive. And a real miracle saved him. A sea lion was swimming near Kevin. It pushed the man, helping him not to sink underwater until the rescue boat arrived. Hines was pulled out, taken to the hospital. He never met his guardian angel again, but he certainly began to appreciate life more as it gave him a second chance. Life is a gift. I'm so happy that I survived, and since that day, I want to help people live, Kevin said in one of the interviews. I know at least dozens of stories where aquatic animals saved people's lives. For example, in 1974, 62-year-old Candelaria Villanueva was saved by a giant sea turtle. After a shipwreck, the woman was almost devoid of strength to swim when she saw the approaching animal and grabbed onto its shell. They spent at least 2 days together. Moreover, the turtle didn't even dive underwater for food. It just carried poor Candelaria until it spotted a ship. The hungry tortoise waited until the woman was safe and only then swam into the depths of the ocean. Here's another similar story. Ivana Vladislavich also survived a shipwreck. The engine of the yacht she was sailing on with her friends suddenly malfunctioned. The ship was sinking. All this happened far from the shore, and although Ivana knew how to swim, it didn't help her much because over time, her strength began to leave her. Suddenly, dolphins appeared. They surrounded her and nudged her towards the shore. They did this for several hours until they reached a buoy. There, Ivana was picked up by a passing ship. I've heard a lot about dolphins, and something tells me that they rightfully have the status of some of the smartest animals on Earth. And this story happened in the distant 1998. At that time, a girl named Joan who was home alone suddenly felt unwell. She had a heart attack. there was no one around, no one could help poor Joan. She was dying, and there were only animals at home. The first to raise the alarm was her American Eskimo dog. The dog barked loudly, but no one of the passerby paid much attention to it. After all, who knows why a dog is barking? But Joan's pig named Lulu turned out to be more resourceful. She immediately ran out of the house, went straight to the road, and lay down. Most people just drove around her, and only one compassionate person stopped to see what had happened. Lulu led the driver to the house, where he immediately called an ambulance for Joan. Who knows, maybe the owners of many pigs were inspired by the story. Personally, I feel like getting a pet pig now. Alright, we've learned that a bear, a dangerous predator, can save a person from another formidable predator, a lion. Can a little bird become a real hero? William the Parrot from the American city of Denver proves that it can. It all happened suddenly. Megan Howard, the nanny of 3-year-old Hannah Kusk, often looked after her while the parents were at work. The girl had a cute little parrot at home, which she regularly taught to speak. And it must be said, the training did not go in vain. One day, this skill saved the life of the little girl Hannah Kusk. Here's what happened. The nanny treated the girl to breakfast, cornflakes, and briefly went to the bathroom. At that moment, something terrible happened. The little girl started choking. She was suffocating and couldn't make any sound except for a muffled wheeze. It could have ended very tragically, but Megan's pet did not lose its composure. It immediately started screaming frantically, "Child! Mom! Mom! Child!" The frightened nanny immediately rushed to the call of William the Parrot and provided first aid to Hannah. The feathered friend even received a real reward, the Red Cross Medal. After all, he's a true hero. Remember at the beginning of the video I told you that I would share a story about a real feathered hero? This was not the story of William the Parrot, although he undoubtedly deserves such a title. The bird I'm going to tell you about now saved not one but hundreds of lives. The year was 1916, the height of World War I. Intense combat operations on various fronts, a little homing pigeon, that's how the story begins. Cherami, a brave bird precisely following the instructions of its owners. This pigeon was a true soldier, serving its homeland and delivering important messages directly under enemy fire. I know of at least 12 important notes that this hero bird managed to deliver. She transmitted coordinates, vital information, and secret messages to the Allies. Her last mission was to deliver a letter during the Meuse-Argonne offensive. At least 3 birds were sent with notes at once, but 2 of them were killed by the enemy before they could even take off. Only the last hope remained. And so, Cherami not only managed to take off, but also delivered the letter to the recipient. However, it cost the pigeon tremendous efforts. She was shot, but didn't fall. Several bullets hit the bird. One shot off a leg, the second hit the chest, the third knocked out an eye. The bird was immediately operated on and of course retired. Cherami never flew on missions again. For this feat, for flying through pain, for delivering an important message, the pigeon was awarded a real medal, the War Cross, a medal for bravery in the face of duty. Later, Cherami died of old age, and her stuffed body was placed in the National Museum of American History. Not only a dog is a human's best friend, treat animals with care, love them, and then they will surely repay you in kind. You never know what to expect even from the most dangerous predator. Thank you for watching.